Edwin Powell Hubble was born November 20th, 1889. He was the son of John Powell Hubble and Virginia Lee James of Muirfield, Missouri. His father was an insurance executive and his mother did not work. Edwin had 5 siblings: Henry, Lucy Lee, William, Ellen, and Virginia. In 1900, the family moved to Wheaton, Illinois. As a child, Edwin was known for his athletics more than his academics. In 1906, he set the Illinois state track record for the high jump. He was also known as an amateur boxer. Hubble first attended the University of Chicago, where he concentrated on mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy, which led to his bachelor's degree in biology in 1910. After earning his bachelor's, he spent 3 years at the Queen's College, Oxford, where he graduated as one of the university's first Rhodes Scholars. He initially studied Judas Priest instead of science as a promise to his dying father. Later he added Spanish and literature, earning his master's. Even after leaving Oxford, some of his British mannerisms went with him, often annoying his American colleagues. In 1909, John Hubble moved the family to Shelby, Kentucky. John Powell Hubble died in the winter of 1913 while Edwin was still in England, and in the summer of 1913 he returned to care for his mother, 2 sisters, and younger brother, just as his brother William did. The family moved once more to Everett Avenue in Louisville Highlands neighborhood to accommodate Edwin and William. Returning to the United States, Hubble taught Spanish, physics, and mathematics at the New Albany High School in New Albany, Indiana. He also coached the boys' basketball team here. After a year of high school teaching, he returned to astronomy at the Yerkes Observatory of the University of Chicago, where he received his Ph.D. in 1917. His dissertation was titled Photographic Investigations of the Faint Nebula. Hubble then served in the United States Army in World War I, and he quickly advanced to the rank of major. In 1919, Hubble was offered a staff position in California by Greg Ellery Hale, the founder and director of the Carnegie Institution's Mount Wilson's Observatory in Pasadena, California, where he remained on the staff until his death. Edwin Hubble's arrival at Mount Wilson, California in 1919 coincided roughly with the completion of the Hooker telescope. At the time, the prevailing view of the cosmos was the universe consisted entirely of the Milky Way galaxy. Using the Hooker telescope at Mount Wilson, Hubble identified Cepheid variables in several spiral nebulae, including the Andromeda Nebula and the Triangulum Nebula. His observations made in 1922 proved conclusively that these nebulae were much too distant to be part of the Milky Way and were in fact entire galaxies outside our own. Hubble also devised the most commonly used system for classifying galaxies, grouping them accordingly to their appearance in photographic images. He arranged them in different groups of galaxies in what became known as the Hubble sequence. In 1929, Hubble formulated the empirical redshift distance law of galaxies, now termed simply Hubble's law. This stated that the redshift is interpreted as a measure of recession speed. It is consistent with the solution to Einstein's equation of general relativity for a homogeneous isotropic expanding space. Although concepts underlying an expanding universe were well understood, this statement by Hubble led to a wider scale acceptance for this view. This law states that the greater the distance between any 2 galaxies, the greater their relative speed of separation. This discovery was the first observational support for the Big Bang theory, which had been proposed by Jean-Jacques Lemaitre in 1927. The observed velocities of distant galaxies taken together with the cosmological principle appeared to show that the universe was expanding in a manner consistent with the Friedmann-Lemaitre model of general relativity. In 1931, Hubble wrote a letter to a Dutch cosmologist, William de Sitter, expressing his opinion on the theoretical interpretation of the redshift distance relation. Hubble also served in the United States Army at the Aberdeen Proving Ground during World War II. For his work here, he received the Legion of Merit Award. The Hale telescope had just been completed during this time, and Hubble was the first astronomer to use it. Hubble continued his research at the Mount Wilson and Mount Palomar observatories, where he remained active until his death. Hubble experienced a heart attack in July of 1949 while on vacation in Colorado. He was taken care of by his wife, Grace Hubble, and continued on a modified diet and work schedule. He died of cerebral thrombosis, a spontaneous blood clot in his brain, on September 28, 1953, in San Marino, California. No funeral was held for him, and his wife, Grace Hubble, did not reveal the disposition of his body. Hubble's name still lives today through the telescope that was launched in the 1990 space mission that still orbits around us.